Hello everyone, Mimikins here. Today I'm going to be looking at fire, sword and shield builds. I got the Taroth Slice Fire from Kulve Taroth the other day. It's one of the new weapons they added, so I was really excited to make a new build for it. Before I continue, if you haven't seen my previous video, you should check it out. I show all 14 of the new weapons added to the Kulve Taroth Siege. Sword and Shield is one of the most underused weapons of the game, mostly due to the player base underestimating the potential for damage output. It is the second fastest attacking weapon in the game, after dual blades, and incredibly mobile, which gives the weapon so many opportunities to attack. The animations are short, which helps a lot when evading attacks. Although this weapon has a shield, I only tend to use it as a backup, since it's much easier just to walk right out of attacks. I will give you a tip here. If you do want to guard against an attack, you can recover stamina if you move while blocking. This weapon has fast combos which allow you to build up the stun status on the monster. When the monster is stunned, he can't do anything and often falls over, giving you and your group a chance to get a lot of DPS done. The Sword and Shield also has jumping attacks which allow you to mount the monster. It may look like a weapon with very short reach, but these jumping combos help hit harder to reach areas. Combined with how fast and free flowing the weapon is, it creates a lot of opportunities to deal some nice DPS. My favourite thing about Sword and Shield is that you never have to sheath your weapon. All you have to do is hold the guard button down while taking an item. You don't have to stay still either. It's all the same speed as having your weapon sheathed. You can throw slinger ammo, flash pods, lay down bombs, even equip a mantle, all without having to put your weapon away. If you have obtained this weapon from Kulve, you should build it. It is the best fire, sword and shield the game currently has to offer. It is amazing for monsters weak to fire, especially Kirin, who is extremely fast and can be difficult to hit on some weapons. I have made 3 different builds for this weapon, each built slightly differently, all very high DPS. My weapon is augmented with Affinity, so I can achieve 100% critical rate in all my builds. It's so easy just to take a potion or evade attacks entirely on this weapon type. My first build is my highest DPS build. I like this one a lot. Other than the weapon itself, this build uses 0 event items. I really need to emphasize this next point, as many players think stacking attack is always the best way to go. This is not the case for several weapons in the game, and elemental based sword and shield is one of those. I tested my damage by adding and removing various levels of attack and fire elemental duels. The builds I am showing you had the best balance of both for maximum DPS output. I had the 2-set bonus for Rathalos Mastery, critical element, which really shines here as the elemental damage counts for a lot. Elemental airborne, which adds a nice bonus to all my jumping attacks. The element defences are relatively neutral, so it could be used in most situations where you'd want to use this sword and shield. Even though my white sharpness bar is quite large compared to most weapons, because sword and shield attack so fast, it depletes the bar faster. Eating for feline polisher at the canteen or using wetfish fins is helpful. Which leads me on to my next build. I really wanted to make a build using the Master's Touch ability, which prevents you from losing sharpness on critical hits. So my next build is my Stay Sharp. Since I have 100% critical rate on weak spots, I have gone through a whole fight without sharpening at all, which is not only very convenient but lets me spend more time DPSing. It does do a little less damage per hit than the first build, but that's a trade-off for those wanting the Master's Touch. This build does require you to have 3 of the Arch-Tempered Teostra parts, which is from an event quest called the Scorn of the Sun. This is not always available in the game, but check my description for the official event schedule to find out when it is. So I decided to experiment with another set that has Master's Touch, the Behemoth set. This brings me to my final build. I wasn't able to fit in critical element because the set requires 4 pieces to complete the bonus. But it does give me elemental airborne and airborne, which makes this build jump attacks do more damage than my Stay Sharp build. The regular combos are doing less damage per hit, but if you're using more jump attacks, it will help bring your DPS back up. This build also has 15 thunder resist, making it really nice for taking down Kirin, who is not only weak to fire but does lots of thunder based attacks which often one-shots players who are not prepared. Eating elemental small at the canteen combined with medium attack to raise your element to 20 to avoid blight, or you can go all out with elemental large for a massive plus 30 thunder resist. Now add in some of the mantles and let's see Kirin try to kill you now. This new weapon has made the previous best fire sword and shield, the Corona, feel obsolete. Look at the damage difference in my two best damage dealing builds using these weapons. I highly recommend building for this weapon and trying out the sword and shield. The difficulty curve for learning sword and shield is much lower than many of the other weapons in the game, and it's a great starting point for new and struggling players alike. That's not to say this weapon is purely aimed at noobs. In the hands of a skilled veteran, it's very destructive. Please support the channel by liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.